Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Drexel Free Thought Society Weekly Podcast. We have returned after somehow restraining Douglas from hurting all the disabled people. It took us the entire amount of time to wrestle him to the floor. We are the Drexel Free Thought Society. We like talking about stuff. I am kidding horrendously. Douglas is a wonderful person for as much as I happen to know him, which
don't go that far.
I've only seen him like twice, maybe, so my opinion might be slightly skewed. But anyway, we will continue our discussion on free thought and free will. Free thought too. Whatever. So yeah, Douglas doesn't want to kill everybody.
I don't want to kill everyone. I just think that human experimentation should be implemented into our penal system. There's a difference.
There's a difference. Somewhere.
Very fine line.
Wow.
But again, this is where I come up with the argument, is it all is predicated on who gets to decide who is a problem and who isn't. And if anyone is allowed to have that power, I don't want to be on this planet anymore.
I don't think any one person should be able to have that deciding power. And again,
it doesn't matter. It can just look at our legal system. Technically, the only thing that requires like someone to be guilty is like jury of your peers or a like fairly democratically like upgraded judge who can just do a summary judgment. But generally, the idea is that our legal system is supposed to assume innocence, but it doesn't ever.
No, that's very true.
Our legal system had lofty, extremely happy beginnings, and it never took. And you're starting your idea with things rife with complications.
Remember those lovely eugenics programs we used to have in our penal system? The ones that the Nazis kind of took from us?
At least we went an hour before we brought up Hitler.
Oh.
That's better than usual.
You say
Sorry, this Trinity guy was locked.
I say that's an hour waste of time.
Man, I can't believe I did that. I was trying to avoid.
You're the one who said eugenics than Nazis. What the hell do you think this is going?
But
Who casually talks about Nazis?
It is factual, though, unfortunately, because a lot of people don't think that America had such a thing going on.
Okay, just to
and a lot of that was against
just
free
to
will.
say,
quote unquote.
This is probably the biggest gold mine of one-liners that I've ever had.
Uh-oh.
The last one is mine. Who the hell casually talks about Nazis?
Zeke.
I don't actually know how to spell Nazi, so I spell Nazi.
That works. Nazi works. Nazi Roach.
I have the worst. The spelling doesn't work in my head. I can't form letters in my head.
Oh, we know. We've seen you posting the dead before.
It's awful.
Actually, we did not take an hour before we talked about Hitler because you mentioned the Nuremberg defense.
Oh, is that
a Hitler thing?
Yes.
Damn it.
There's actually a German phrase, Befehl ist Befehl, which means orders are orders.
There was a that is where it started. It was a whole bunch of people. They technically weren't tried as enemies against humanity because they were only following orders.
Yeah, so we did not.
And as our previous discussion kind of went into, I think anyone who does anything is culpable for their actions, regardless of what made them do it. And the worst thing that should happen to these people
is to just jail them.
No, it's to fix them.
No, that's the worst. You said the worst thing that happened to them.
Yeah, the worst thing that happened to them is we forcibly try to fix them.
But there are people that cannot be rehabilitated.
How do you know?
Because our
legal system says they can't,
and mental health system.
Do you know how bad both of those systems are?
I mean, some people are neurologically wired.
Okay, so you know ADHD and ADD.
Yes.
In several European countries, it's nonsense. They say it doesn't exist, and it doesn't in those societies.
Well, that's because they're not pumping their children full of refined sugar.
Refined sugar doesn't cause.
No, you know what I call ADHD? ADHD is called just being a kid.
It is. It's parents not being prepared for being parents. But there's a lot of things that are like that. Like, I'll fall back on depression. Depression's not about sadness. It's like the best description I ever heard of it is it's like vitality getting sucked out of your body. You feel like you're not alive anymore. Not that you're sad. So it's like, our understanding of disorders is getting better.
I mean, it's definitely evolving, but
that's what I mean.
DSM. Oh.
Yeah, the DSM
changed recently.
What was it? Up until like 60 years ago, homosexuality was a treatable psychological.
It was considered a sickness. Period.
Like,
you like guys, there's something wrong with you.
No, there isn't. Just no.
That's what they thought back then. Though.
Really? There's something wrong with those people, isn't there, Doug?
Yes. My boyfriend and I would agree.
Homosexuality was a sin back then. Well, not even a sin. It was an actual disorder.
Okay, so I'm picturing like you and I have no idea what your boyfriend looks like, but it's just like you're making out or something, and you're just like, oh God, it's so. Why are we doing? Oh, terrible. Why are we doing? Oh, why?
It is a debilitating disease.
We're sick.
It's so. Why can't I stop this?
He's a ginger, so there's like 1,000 inherent evils to that.
Just to be very clear, the Drexel Free Thought Society celebrates all walks of
diversity.
Sexuality.
Yay!
No, unless you like hamsters in that way, then we have a problem.
No, if you like hamsters in that way, that's fine, as long as you never act on those feelings. Because that's not nice to the hamsters. No, I'm huge on freedom of thinking.
It's against the
You
hamsters.
can think whatever you want.
It's against the hamster's will.
No, I think it's against the hamster's right to bodily autonomy. And not having a penis inside it.
It's not even physically. But you know what?
Don't ever think about it.
No.
How did we get? Never mind. Let's get away from the hamster.
Their rib cage can't fit around it.
Step away from the hamster. Free will hamster.
Picture it.
Free will.
All right, away from everything that ever happened just now.
We gotta have fun sometimes, Internet. We gotta.
It looks like we started the show 7 minutes late. Okay, hello, we are the Drexel Free Thought Society.
Again?
Wow.
So I have another news story.
It's not about hamsters or Zeke, is it?
No, it's about something that made me physically angry.
Physically angry? How did you get physically?
Woman died after Muslim nurse refused to help because he was praying.
Wait, say that one more time.
An elderly woman who was left on the floor at a home care for up to 10 minutes because a nurse was praying, an inquest heard. Alzheimer's sufferer, I'm just going to not say the name just because I don't want to spread it more than it has to. 87 years old, was found sitting down after staff heard a bang, and a carrier went into the office to help to lift her. But agency nurse, I don't care about this person, Abdul Bhuttu, who was in charge, said they would have to wait. Carrier Zoe Shaws told the Sheffield hearing it took between 5 and 10 minutes because he was praying upstairs in the office on his prayer mat. A staff member told me we had to wait for him to finish. An ambulance was not called for nearly 4 hours after the woman fell from bed and cut her head and suffered a gash to her hip at the privately run Valley Nursing Home in Wombell near Barnsley. She died later in hospital. Mr. Bhuttu, he's not a doctor, failed to appear at the inquest, and a summons has been issued for him to attend, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot more to this article. Shame.
God's will.
Now
that would be the excuse.
I will flat out say, totally fine to have whatever religious beliefs you want. I just said, perfectly fine with freedom of thought. But if you have a job that requires you to do stuff at a moment's notice, do not have a religion that makes you required to do stuff at very specific times.
Yes.
Or at the very least, ignore it.
That's why I believe in Defugla.
Defugla doesn't require you to do anything. Except love him.
Basically.
And 5 first graders, but that doesn't matter.
Really?
I don't know why it says first graders. Especially since ages are different depending on district.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know, Defugla's confusing.
Don't question it.
I don't.
Don't question Defugla.
Anyway.
But yeah, that is...
That's it. It's just stupid.
Yeah, I can't explain how ridiculously stupid it is because it speaks for itself.
That person better be fired.
It's very...
Probably not.
I mean, just from a career aspect, it's horribly irresponsible. But even from a religious aspect, and we were just talking about culpability, like how could you not feel responsible? How could you feel that your God and or gods would condone you know, like
his plan. Who am I to question it? That would be his excuse, probably. It's his plan. This was meant to happen. She came at this time because it was willed. Some people really think that way. Unfortunately, they hold no culpability whatsoever. This is part of the plan. I don't know what the plan is, and it sounds bad to us humans, but we are just humans. We are not to understand this stuff. So this is the way it has to be, and whatever plan God has for it, it'll come into fruition.
All right, so I'm just gonna poke fun at Islam right now.
Here he goes.
I can't wait for
the
bomb thread.
It's like, you know that the Earth is not flat, right?
Are you sure?
So if you're pointing east to get your prayers to Mecca, do prayers curve with the curvature of the Earth? Are prayers affected by gravity?
Nope.
Because otherwise they shoot right off into space.
So
that's what happens.
Prayers are dictated by magnetism, yeah?
So if prayers get to Mecca, if we know they get to Mecca, then prayers are affected by gravity.
Mind blown.
And if prayers are affected by gravity but don't have mass, then wouldn't they just get sucked into the sun?
Do prayers
Which has a greater
mass?
pull than we do?
Do prayers have mass, though?
Some people say they do. And a lot of people are stupid.
Isn't there a religious thing called mass, by the way?
Yes.
Whoa.
Mind blown.
I'm calling it conspiracy. I don't think people want us to hear this. I can't sound more sarcastic if I tried.
Oh, man.
Listen to the sound of my voice. Okay, I'm done.
By the way,
I saw a picture of that a long time ago that showed like a person crouching over and then just like the prayers curving around the planet. I'm like, oh, it's brilliant.
But what does a prayer look like?
Apparently arrows. Pointing to Mecca.
So when I talk to God, an invisible, intangible arrow forms above my head and it flies towards its destination.
Mm-hmm. Apparently. It makes more sense than other things. Okay, so that happened. I'm not entirely sure where this is. It's the Telegraph. Who's the Telegraph?
UK.
Okay, so it's in the UK.
Back in 2012.
But yeah, so that, to anyone who takes a job, no matter what the job is, like, I don't think you should be fired because you happen to have religious beliefs. I don't think that's fair. Like, you can say, like I don't think even asking for what your religion is even relevant.
I agree.
But at the same time, your religious beliefs don't get to trump your responsibilities as an employee.
Yeah.
Like the whole, there's a thing in the like all over the UK where it's like Muslims seem to be getting away with this stuff. Don't have to handle alcohol if they work in a grocery store, or certain kinds of meat. And it's just like, no. I would love to be like a lucrative owner of a chain of like grocery stores and just be like, no, shut up, go back to work.
Yeah, no.
It's like, I'll sue you. Good luck.
Isn't there a way to, like, I don't know, punk your god, like, oh, I didn't technically touch it. Like,
It was like covered in
No,
plastic.
because he knows everything.
No, but I mean, like, how much alcohol do you like crack it open and pour it over your hands? It's covered in glass.
Yeah. Or wrapped meat.
Yeah,
Pork.
don't be a butcher. Like,
I don't like alcohol. I don't touch crap.
no, but I mean, even then, like, you can rub the alcohol on your face, and it's not actually going to seep through the glass into your skin.
By alcohol, do they mean just ethanol mixed with other stuff?
If you ask about science, they'll just shake their heads and laugh at you.
So so they're not allowed to touch a bottle of propanol
Isopropyl.
or butanol. What about?
Okay, please don't assume religious people know anything. That's a dangerous road.
I'll have them handle cyclopropanol. I mean, that's an alcohol. Guess they can't touch that either.
They don't know that.
They can't be sanitized before injections.
No, I don't mean to be very crude. I know very well there are lots of very educated religious folk. But if you honestly are the kind of person that will listen to the idea that you can't handle alcohol, then you are not an intelligent person. Or at the very least, you are so brainwashed by your religion that you have prevented yourself from learning anything. And I'm very sorry for your brain.
Poor brain.
Poor brain. Your subconscious is trying so hard.
There you go. That subconscious thinking.
Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe your subconscious is like, no, you will not do this, but I don't like religion. Listen to me.
Cognitive dissonance.
Zeke.
I don't, like, I'm actually curious what it's like to be cognitively dissonant. I think that would be neat.
You mean to have conflicting
No,
feelings about
like
one
mutually
thing?
contradictory ideas being both held completely. I don't know what that's like. I don't want to, really.
You've probably done it at some point in your life and just didn't realize it.
Nah, I'm awesome.
Doubtful.
Nah.
I feel like I just a little cognitive dissonance. I'm a vegetarian, but I buy leather.
That's like almost worse, man.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. You are vegetarian, but
I buy leather goods.
oh,
Get fake leather. It's like it's getting really good, and it has the benefit of being an oil byproduct, so it lights on fire really fast.
Oh,
you're a
interesting.
vegan? Cross.
I'm a vegetarian also.
Vegetarian's okay, but vegan's okay.
I'm not a vegan.
Oh.
You look like you were offended. I'm not a vegan.
I'm not a vegan. How dare you?
You see, honestly, the only byproducts of animals that I ingest are eggs and honey, and not at the same time.
No milk?
Nah, milk is awful for you.
That's why I drink almond milk. It's much better.
I drink
for
almond
you.
milk and coconut milk.
The minute I wake up in the morning, I chug like a quarter of a gallon of milk.
It is
immediately.
really bad for you.
I love animals.
So you don't have a lactose
It's like I
intolerance?
just love
Wow.
sucking on cow's breasts.
Yes.
All day long.
Just think about it. Someone came up with that idea.
It really won't be that hard to figure out. It's like, oh, these goats can drink this. I probably drink
But
it.
who'd want to think that? It's like think about it.
No, okay. So back in the day, women breastfeeding was just like, oh, there's like
When did it become
there's
taboo?
Samantha feeding her kid. Like the fact that milk comes from breasts was not a mystery to anyone.
But no, here's the problem. It's like you drink milk from a cow. It's A-okay. But if you tell somebody that's anteater milk, people flip out. It's like, I don't want to drink from an anteater. That's disgusting.
That's the same as
But it's like-
people.
And you see, when I ask women on the street if I could drink from their breasts, they look at me weird and call the police.
Craziness.
I don't do that.
Guys,
I would never do that.
guys, Zeke.
Unless it was specifically an awful joke to a friend. I would never do that.
No, I feel as though that's the same thing with people that eat cows and chickens, but think that eating a horse is just absolutely ridiculous.
It's
If you ever meet
cultural.
a cow, you'll like never eat cows again.
I've met a cow.
I love my cows.
I've met a cow. I just don't think about them as a hamburger because they don't
Those
look
huge
very
eyes.
That you see, you have a mental. That's a mental dissonance. Befriending a cow and then completely ignoring the fact that that's where your beef comes from.
No, I didn't ignore it. I'm very well aware that that's where the cow came from.
Tragic.
I used to go to Saul High School.
I miss the cows from the Philadelphia Zoo.
I used to chill with the
They were my
chickens.
best friends.
I used to
No,
chill-
the miniature horse and donkey are my best friends.
Yeah, because everybody knows that David loves making an ass out of him. So.
To be fair, no, I worked at the children's zoo for a while, so I was actually able to like play with the animals, and no one would play with the miniature horse because the miniature horse and the miniature donkey were caged together in their little pen, but the miniature donkey never really played. He was kind of a laid back kind of animal. So the horse was like a rambunctious little dick, and it would just like run around like an idiot. I pranced like an idiot with that horse. It was having a time of its life. It was bucking, it was neighing, and everyone was like, "Yay! The horse is happy."
It's the will of the animal.
And then he went, and he's now living on a farm somewhere.
That's what they told you.
No, he actually is. He did. No, wait, did.
We don't know.
No, they probably didn't mean that.
So the free will of the horse to neigh and buck as it pleases.
Free will.
Yes. No, you see, that's the crew.
Do animals have free will?
You see, when animals die at the zoo, it's really, really creepy.
Why?
Because we don't have things to transport them. We have to transport them in pieces.
Interesting. Are
That's
necropsies
scary.
performed there?
I don't know if they perform there, but I think they're off-site somewhere.
Right.
I don't think we have the facility to dissect a rhino.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big task, especially considering how thick the bones are. Why are we talking about dismembering
Right.
dead zoo? Do animals have free will? Okay, how about let's just.
Oh, here's a fun thing. I love the phrase, human beings in our arrogance think that we are so different from the other animals. But other animals have distinct personalities, wants and needs, desires, future aspirations, and we just think that we're special, but we're not. The more we learn about the animal kingdom, the more we learn that we are so not unique.
We're not
That's
that
a
much
very,
different.
very true statement.
It's like the only thing that I can sufficiently say that we're different is we have better ability to imagine things and situations that do not currently exist.
And even then,
And
it's kind of
we
hard.
have slightly more dexterous hands.
And even then, it's kind of hard to determine because it's still darn near impossible to know what an animal is thinking. We can hypothesize and maybe even test for these things.
But it's
For
like
example,
But it's such a
I'm sorry,
small
keep going.
difference.
like I have
No,
I
it
have a-
is, and
I
I
have
think
a pet.
that's it.
I have a
Tiny
pet.
difference made all this.
I have a pet bearded dragon. You know, an Australian lizard. For those of you who don't know what a bearded dragon is, and I would like to hypothesize that this animal is not just a mindless, eating, defecating creature. I really think that when that lizard sits down and he watches me turn on the computer or the Xbox or something, that animal is contemplating something. And if you were to put another lizard in the same area and another lizard, I think that they would think different things. This is something that we could test for. I mean, now, will we know what they're thinking? No. But it seems as if there are certain stimuli that have different effects on individual animals.
It's like there's a couple countries that have made TV shows for pets.
That is awesome, actually.
Like more common pets like dogs and cats and birds and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And they'll make shows designed to stimulate them. And they work. The dogs will bark and jump around and be really excited, and cats will however the hell cats express happiness.
Stare.
Cats are psychopaths. Cats do not express happiness.
Cats are actually one of the few animals that kills for sport.
See, if ever I were to believe in Satan and God, it would be because of cats.
I am a dog person.
Yeah, have you seen the latest Dragon Ball Z movie?
No, I'm not.
No, wait, was he a Sphinx cat or a jackal? No, he was a Sphinx. Bills looks like a Sphinx cat, and he's like the strongest being in the universe. Well, second, his boss is first, but yeah. So cats are evil. But no, seriously, cats do indeed hunt for sport. I'm talking about domestic cats, and it makes you wonder: is the cat really thinking about this? Is it an instinctive thing when the cat goes out and randomly kills these animals, or does it have like a certain motive to go around and kill these things? Is there something within its will, its desire to actually kill these things, other than just an instinctive urge to chase something that moves? And not all cats, and think about it, not all cats will kill birds or mice. Some cats will even befriend rodents or birds or some other animal that is normally considered a prey item. So
Prey item.
yeah, that's a term.
The wording is just funny.
Yeah, it is. So it makes you wonder with these animals, what are their wills and desires? I don't think it's just instinctive when it comes to a lot of these creatures.
No, you see, that's what's so stupid. Is what the hell is instinct and what's like? Okay, so I'm going to create a list of the words that have no meaning.
So instinct.
Instinct has no meaning.
Even in the biological sense.
No.
I mean, I've never actually
What's the-
thought about it.
What's
honestly.
the difference? What's the difference between something that's hardwired into our DNA and thoughts that are hardwired into our DNA?
I'll be honest with you. I don't think I can really define it well. There probably are people.
I just
who
don't.
can.
I don't see the point.
I would
like-
ask
I-
somebody
like-
like Richard Attenborough or Dawkins or something.
No, I could see the difference between I don't know what it's called, like automatic responses
Maybe that's what they
and
mean.
non-automatic. Like my knee getting hit, my nervous system will instantly make my
Like
leg
a
jerk
reaction.
forward.
I think instinct is mostly like that subconscious reaction you were talking about a bit. Like, you hit.
No, I'm not even saying subconscious reaction. I'm saying this is what the base of my spine makes the rest of my body do.
Yeah.
That might be
Like I don't.
that might be what instinct is defined as. It's just that
Okay, if
it's
that's
just,
what
it's,
instinct is, then fine.
it's
but-
just that the word instinct is thrown around so much.
no. I think it's to make
to a
people,
personal thing.
No, I think it's to make people feel special, and we're not.
Probably.
It's all the animals. Oh, they just They just work on instinct. They eat, they hump each other, and then they die.
Well,
and it's
is
like,
that
all right, how is that any different than people?
So it sounds like a gap. It sounds like I really don't know the answer, so I'll just throw in instinct. So it's like instinct is like the god of the gap fallacy.
Yep.
Almost.
Except it's scientists doing it.
But
Gasp!
But at least scientists have a definition.
And at least science can change and admit it's wrong.
Yeah, that too. But I'm just talking about how people who are not normally considered scientists, it's like, you know, like for example, take guys who are what you call quote unquote players, cheaters. They'll say, "Oh, it's my instinct. When I see a hot girl, I gotta talk to her and, you know, have sex with her." Blah 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 blah.
No,
it's
you
my instinct.
and
but they'll justify that.
No, but
instinct.
Do you know what's funny though? And I think that's what. Okay, so this is going into the other part of the free will discussion. Like, why the hell does free will? Why does it exist as a word? We touched on it a little bit earlier, but I think it's the same thing as instinct. It's just the idea that now that we have a word for it, we don't have to. We can use it as a cop out for absolutely everything.
Like the word swag, which is disgusting.
To stick to free will for a second, there was the whole the thing that we mentioned before. There was the everything that God does is good and everything man does is evil. Mm-hmm. And the only reason anyone could justify that is because man was given free will. This is why I think free will, the term, is just created by religion to justify its own actions.
Because I've actually contemplated what the heck is a free will. I mean, can you or free? Like the word free alone baffles me. Like, what is free? You know, aren't we human? Aren't we humans bound by something?
Yes.
Period. We are bound by the laws of nature. Okay.
Yes.
I cannot float in outer space and exist for an indeterminate period of time. I will compress, heat up, and die or whatever. Yeah, I'll like.
I just float away and you never see me again.
Yeah, I'll float and go up. Something will kill me. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson could explain it a lot better. He actually did.
But you see, I don't believe in gravity, and I just leap out a window and fly away.
It sounds like you just don't want to believe in gravity. It sounds like a will.
That's funny. It's
a desire.
That kind of aligns with the evolutionary thought. Like, if you don't believe in evolution, it didn't exist, so you're not bound by its laws. If you don't believe in gravity, then you're not bound by its laws.
The facts don't give a damn.
Oh, that actually gives a really interesting justification for the evolution deniers. As long as they don't believe in it, then they can just say it doesn't exist.
Yes.
And then I'll just say...
I never thought about it like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, they do. They do that all the time. And I'll just tell them that facts don't give a damn what you think.
Yep.
They're like, what do you mean? I was like, evolution is a fact.
No,
but a lot of people don't know what
it isn't.
Fact
it's
is.
just a belief. It's like, no. It is an observable fact. Now we have several ideas of what describing how evolution happens.
The ideas are the theories. What is actually happening, what you can observe, what every human being who has sight can observe, is indeed fact.
The change in allele frequencies over the course of generations over time.
Cha-ching. It's just that instant
evolution.
It's just that instant gratification kills us. It's like, we want to see the cat become the whatchamahoosit. We want to see the fish become the frog or whatever. And it's like, you're not going to see that.
Did you see the picture of a spoof of what the Ken Ham Bill Nye debate's going to be like?
No.
I saw this picture where Ken Ham is like, the Earth was built 6,000 years ago, and Bill Nye's like, how do you know that? Were you there?
But they use that same argument on scientists.
Exactly.
They use that.
Let's see how they like it.
They don't like it very much.
But of course, everyone in the comments of that picture were just like, his comment's going to be, God was, and he wrote it in this book.
Faith. That'll be the answer, is faith. It's like, you just gotta believe, man. You just gotta believe. No, I don't. I want to know the freaking answer. Or at least get as close to it as humanly possible. Again, that whole free will thing. I'm bound... Even knowledge binds
you're
me,
bound.
okay?
You're bound by what your subconscious wants you to do.
Like, I have limits. As long as you have limits, then perhaps there is no free will. Or freedom, for that matter. Like, what is freedom? Because, free will, it's a compound term. What the hell is free, and what the hell is will? And once you define them, can they even come together in the first place?
I just think it's just a misnomer that the word doesn't mean anything.
It's like once you start thinking about the etymology of these words, they start making less and less sense.
I mean, the original purpose of it was silly. It's just the now that we have this word, stop alarming, phone.
That is a perfect den discussion. What is free will? How do you define that?
I just see it as like an uninhibited choice in your course of action.
And this is why I think it doesn't exist, because there is no such thing as an uninhibited choice of your actions. Because your subconscious controls basically all of your actions.
But some of it's wired in a certain way, right? By nature?
By your birth and by your environment. And every point in between.
Basically, there's a lot of factors that goes into the development of your subconscious.
Yeah, and the development of your conscience. And that's why people can have really screwed up psyches, and that's largely to do with the incompatibility of those two systems.
Oh, and by the way, a quick definition of instinct. Instinct or innate behavior is the inherent inclination of a living organism towards a particular complex behavior.
Yeah, so what the hell's the difference between that and me deciding to go get a veggie burger? How is there any difference between an innate need for me to eat and an innate need for me to eat a veggie burger?
Maybe it's that you chose to eat the burger and not the frog.
So it's the same thing. If we saw like a fox run over and eat a frog, we wouldn't think that it was most people wouldn't think that it was making a conscious choice. Foxes just gotta eat.
Possibly.
We're no different. In our arrogance, we think we are.
Different.
Humans are just really good. We're just another ape that happens to be really good at manipulating our surroundings.
We're very good at fabrication. We love lying to ourselves, and we just don't realize it half the time.
Religion.
Zeke.
Sorry, that was that cough. You better have a look at.
Oh yeah, it also notes that any behavior is instinctive if it is performed without being based upon prior experience.
Oh,
like
okay.
latent memory, like birds innately knowing how to fly.
So basically, it's something that isn't learned per se.
Wait, do we actually know if birds have no idea how to make nests? Have there been experiments where birds are just like incubated and then kept in a dark room alone?
I've actually wondered.
Like, do birds
I think that's what we were missing, and I was missing that too because I used to read up on instinct all the time, and it's just my mind's having a brain fart. But I guess a lot of people think of it as just something that isn't learned. It's like you're born and boom, you already have
like
an idea.
Instinctual aversion to like specific stimuli, even specific images.
Yeah, a lot of people are actually quite averse to their own fecal matter, and the reason I bring that is because that's just one thing that's utterly repulsive to a lot of people.
The children I've seen, they seem to be really into it.
Some people were just like, but a lot of people, like, for example, me, just looking at a picture of it just makes me cringe. And I tend to have a very iron stomach with things.
I'm slightly curious why you're looking at these pictures. But other than that...
Well, it's not like I'm actually looking for these things to be repulsed.
I'm just assuming you have a diary. Analyzing your
Shut up, Zeke. Okay, Zeke. Anyways, but no, that's a good question with the me being a biology major with birds, and I've wondered that myself because I don't think that the chicks actually watch the adults build a nest.
But that's the thing is like I can understand like a lot of biological things being built into animals, but how is something like that done?
Nest building.
Yeah, how's nest building biologically inherited?
That is a really good... For me, that's a really good question. I'm pretty sure there's an ornithologist that has a perfect answer.
I'm hugely speculating, but it would be interesting if it was just they have the natural inclination to create a shelter of some kind.
And are inhibited by their physiology?
Yeah, exactly. Like, the only thing they could build is a nest.
And you notice that with birds themselves...
And that's kind of why they build them out of anything.
And you notice with birds themselves that no nest is treated the same. Like, it's not like all birds just take sticks and boom, boom, boom. Some birds build it with rocks. Some birds actually don't build a nest. They just lay where they're at and they stay still until that egg hatches. Some birds
that's a very patient bird.
Penguins.
Well, penguins, if they don't do that, they and their kid will die.
or like look at bowerbirds. Those are the birds that go around and grab random items and decorate well, no, I'm sorry, that's not a nest. I apologize. It's not a nest. The nest is different from the mating structure that they create.
I know of mating structures with birds. Birds are crazy.
And that makes no sense.
Of course, I'm saying that.
That's
saying
all it's
someone
used
that
for.
buys nice clothes and jewelry to make myself attractive. What the hell can I say?
I mean, but just a little bit, just slightly off topic, it makes you wonder, where did the bird get the idea that it can build a normal nest, but then the male builds this bizarre structure built with a variety of things
I think
just to attract the female.
there's a lot to do with an instinctual desire to impress something, and then in the recesses of their tiny bird brain, just the logic clicks, and they're like, I know how I can impress that bird. I'll make something awesome.
And no two birds build the exact same structure.
And I think that's the key. I think if you made an identical nest, then it is hardwired into their biology. But if it's not identical, then there's a personal touch in there.
So the hard wiring is the fact that it builds the structure, but the creativity is what's not instinctive.
I think bees are an example of hardwired biological things because they build identical honeycomb.
Yes, they do.
It's like that is wired into their biology.
No creativity needed. Just build the nest.
But it's always the same.
Yeah.
But it's always the same, and it seems very ordered. But that's really just because that is the design that worked.
Which furthers your point about the whole people thinking that they're special. You have a bird that is building a structure that serves no purpose other than to attract a female, and they build it in a creative way. But you have humans saying, we're the only ones that can build things like this, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, look at that bird.
If all of humanity became infertile, all methods of science and industry would shut down.
But what amazes me the most
there would no longer be a point.
What amazes me the most is that humans don't think that animals have a will or desire to do things. They're just programmed by nature or God or whatever it has be to do this.
I'm going with my running hypothesis until I'm proven wrong.
But I agree with you that humans are arrogant and stupid when it comes to other creatures.
I think largely a lot of our behavior can also be defined as a biological imperative filtered through our physical limitations.
Absolutely,
I agree. There are only so many things we can do, but the fact that we are so dexterous, we have this cerebrum that's amazing, compared to certain other animals. That enables us to build these chairs and these computers and cars. And
all this is nothing.
But that's it.
It's such a tiny. What is it? It's like less. It's like a % difference from chimps.
Yeah, it's not very far at all.
We're basically the same.
I mean, something else could just as easily evolve and outdo us.
The best example that I love is that rats are like 10 times less related to mice than we are to chimps.
Oh yeah, there's more biological or genetic variation between rodents than there
they
are
say
between
rats. I forgot what the features were, but they actually have some ancestral reptilian features more than any other rodent.
There's a population of penguins that have more genetic variation between relatives than we do between chimps.
That's interesting.
That's true. Evolution is awesome. How can you not love
And
evolution?
look, even these weird examples we're mentioning still perfectly in line with the theory of evolution, so shut up.
And it still kind of fits into the whole free will thing. Again, because people seem to think that animals are just mindless, eating, defecating, reproducing creatures, and that's it.
I bet the animals think the same thing about us.
They probably do. It's like, humans, they build all this stuff, so what?
There was like a little short comic of cat's perspective of their owner, if you could read the cat's mind. And it's just like, I always have to run into my owner's lap every couple hours because I'll just watch them staring at glowing boxes for like 5-6 hours a day. I need to make sure that they're entertained because they care for me so much.
A lot of us humans are boring.
We must look like idiots. We're staring at a magical box with running shapes over it. We must look like we're insane.
It's scary because I kind of look at a lot of people that way because I don't really watch TV. I play video games though, so people think of me as useless because I sit in front of a TV and play a video game, and it's like, yeah, but look, I'm actually in control. You're watching a reality TV show that you have no control over.
Stupid justification. You look just as silly.
Look, because I'm going like this, the controller.
Of course you are.
Zeke. But it's so amazing how we view each other, like how we were talking about at the beginning of the show with the the mentally ill people and people being jailed without being rehabilitated, and how we look at other beings. It's so amazing, and then when you fit the whole free will thing in there, it's like, how can we really determine who has a desire and who is just acting on some innate, unlearned stuff?
I think that there are observable, like, neurobiological factors.
Is it? But it's as of right now, there is just some things we can't understand, but we are trying our best to
There
understand.
are, but it's like the neurobiology, like, between, like, psychopaths and average humans is completely observable, and
there's a lot of chemistry behind it, too.
yeah.
Which is really funny. Chemistry is not my strong point, even though it should be. But what have you? I mean, when you start looking at all those neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine and all that stuff, that's where it starts to get really, really fun. Especially when it comes to like schizophrenics. Do they even call it sociopath anymore? They've changed that term so many times.
I don't care. Yeah. But no, you see that's the idea.
There was psychopathy, and now it's sociopathy.
Wow.
Okie dokie.
They'll change it.
Let's just add several more syllables to each of these words.
Yeah,
Sociopolopoly.
Pseudo-sociopathy.
And pretty soon it'll just turn into a Dr. Seuss book.
It is a Dr. Seuss book. Green eggs and ham. Zeke.
I got the zoopa-doopa-doppa-doopins.
Thank you, Bill Cosby.
Oh no! I've got Bill Cosby syndrome.
Oh yeah, put that in the DSM-17.
It killed my father.
Bill Cosbyism. Doopa jello.
He was such a nice guy, but apparently he's just not funny anymore.
Well, because
I really don't care.
he's displeased with the way the world is. Kind of like George Carlin was.
But George Carlin was amazing until the last time he gave his finger to God. Which I imagine was the last thing he did before he died.
Probably. People think he runs on instinct too, just because he thinks, which is weird.
When thinking for yourself is considered an instinct, then screw you instincts. It's either everything is an instinct or instinct is a pointless word.
People make it pointless. People take words and destroy them.
But this is the idea that I think that this is the tie-in with instinct with free will. Mm-hmm. Is the idea that we think that the reason we don't think our thoughts are instinct is because we think we have control over them. But as I have demonstrated with little thought experiments, what parts of your thoughts are actually yours?
We don't have control over like our every thought, but we do have control over our actions.
How? Where do those choices come from?
God.
They come from your subconscious like everything else.
They come from our motivation to...
Where do those motivations come from? Where are they stored? Where did they develop?
I cannot answer that, but I feel as though there's a scientifically defensible answer.
There is. Your subconscious.
Where is your subconscious located?
Most of your brain, actually.
It's a part of your conscious, but you're not focally aware.
It's kind of like all the things that you don't consciously think about, like processing sound.
Kind of like our hand motions and everything, too.
Yeah.
Like, are you really thinking about moving your finger up and down like that? Like
or you just kind of go like, I feel like moving, and now I'm moving.
It's like every little thing that we do.
Do you think about walking? Do you think about breathing?
Not every step, but I think about initiating the actions of walking.
Yes, and you're responsible for those actions.
I have free will to walk and or sit
Well,
down.
isn't that a difference between subconscious
You don't.
and
Making a choice doesn't mean free will. That's kind of the whole point of bringing up the subject.
Isn't there a difference between subconscious and the what's it called, an autonomous nervous system, where it comes to like heart beating and breathing?
Yeah, the autonomic.
Yeah, the autonomic system. Yeah, there's a slight difference behind it because you were mentioning.
There's kind of like the base of your brain, like your reptilian brain, is so far removed from anything you have control over that it's barely worth talking about. But then, like the other higher portions of your brain, we can use them, but it's not the same thing. And we are about out of time.
Free will.
So I hope this was an educational discussion, and it seemed like we were all thinking about nonsense for a while.
But I learned something.
I learned something. This is great.
I love this stuff. Zeke.
We are awesome. Have a nice day, everyone. We are the Drexel's Free Thought Society. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us on Spreaker. Tell all of your friends. Tell everyone you have ever met and ever will meet. Goodbye.
Long live Big Boss.